Hey everybody, it's your hospitality friend Glenn here to help you with your continuing quest to engage your teams and save you money. We know how difficult the operating environment is out there, and it is my goal last year, this year, and ongoing to make sure that you reach maximum profitability. So today I got a fun one, bringing back a new friend and an old friend to the show. Bam, we got Geoffrey Toffetti, CEO of FPG. And our friend of the show, Sloan Dean, former CEO of Remington, and now fellow podcaster. Sloan, great to see you. Geoffrey, nice to meet you on air.
Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you.
Great to be here.
So great to be here, Geoffrey. So about 6-8 months ago, I started learning about Frontline Performance Group, and I feel like a fool because you've been around much longer than that. And it's really cool what you guys are doing out there to help energize teams, get them really focused. So tell me a little bit about what you guys are up to, and then we'll get some real world practicality out of Sloan.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. And I know we've been working a long time to make this happen, so appreciate you sticking with me. Yeah, well, Frontline Performance Group's been around 33 years. We've always exclusively focused on helping companies that have a frontline operation, meaning they interact directly with their customer. And about 15 years ago, we landed in hospitality. It's now our sole strategic focus, helping hotels, think front desk, think, restaurants, wherever you're interacting with your customer. How do you enhance their experience, maximize the amount of money they spend, and make sure they leave happy? That's right. Really what we're all about.
And Geoffrey, we're going to be focused on both those two elements on future episodes. That's right. We're not doing one. We're not doing two. We're doing a 3-part series over here. So we'll get more into the nitty gritty on that. But Sloan, tell me a little bit about when you were a CEO, the problems you were facing, and how you looked for a solution to kind of move things forward for your organization.
I got to meet Geoffrey and the FPG team actually back when I was in an asset management role working with Hilton Managed. So I got to see them in their earlier years in hospitality. And then as I took over in 2018, being CEO of Remington, we did a little bit of business with them, but I didn't have them in all the hotels. And by, call it 2021, 2022, I had made the decision to put them in all hotels. And you say, well, what are the reasons for that? One is that, revenue is revenue. In all the hotels that we had them in, we saw a 3 to 5% RevPAR lift. And so once you start to see that, you're thinking to yourself, well, why don't I do this for all hotels? Dummy me. And, I had some false assumptions initially. I thought, in hotels where we had a Nor1 for pre-arrival, that the upsell opportunity wouldn't be that great because we had Nor1 in all our Hilton branded hotels. And actually we still saw at least a 3 or 4% RevPAR lift where we had both Nor1 FPG behind the desk. So that was one. The second, I had select service hotels, and I thought, well, really the opportunity is more full service, selling spa, selling other services. I had more suites in a full service hotel. And what we actually saw, while the total revenue dollar amount in a select service hotel is a smaller opportunity because they're smaller hotels, we still saw a significant opportunity because in a lot of ways we were just giving away our upgraded room types instead of selling them. And so that was a big shock for me, was when I put them in select service hotels, that there was still a big opportunity. Of course, you don't have spas and you don't have restaurants, but you still have a lot of room, ADR opportunity.
And shoot, Sloan, so many of these hotels now I see are more like quasi full service hotels. They're putting in monetization opportunities. And Geoffrey, I think what we're talking about here is you're able to connect the dots cleanly between opportunity for the guest that makes them happier while simultaneously being able to create that upsell for the hotelier.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. The way we describe it is when you're shopping to book a stay, you're in value mode. When you arrive, you're in experience mode. And a lot of times the employees don't connect that dot. They think, oh, they're still in value mode. No, they want to have a great experience. Now they don't.
I got to stop you right there because that is so super interesting to me. So what we're really talking about is when you're purchasing the product, in this case, a hotel room, you're really looking for the best bargain you could get. That is your mindset going into it. But man, and I'm just realizing this happens to me too. You show up hey, I'm on vacation, I'm doing whatever. And all of a sudden your mind is open to listening more. Please continue, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And when we say value mode, it's even wealthy, affluent people. They're not looking necessarily for the cheapest. They're looking for the best, the most for the best value. And yeah, so when they arrive, that when they book, they don't know every room type you have. They don't know all the views of your property. They don't know that you can secure a late checkout till 4 o'clock when your flight's at 7 and you don't have to sit in the airport for 5 hours. They don't know that stuff. So how do you get your employees to communicate that to them in a way that is service focused, in a way that benefits them? So there's incentives involved and there's recognition programs involved, but how do you activate the front line so they will engage the guest in that conversation at the time of arrival? Because one thing is a fact. There are a lot of people, the only person at the property they will speak to is the front desk agent. So that's your one shot when they arrive. That's like your last mile of revenue. And if you're not seizing it, you're losing it forever. It's very highly perishable revenue.
Right.
One of the things that I thought when we installed them in like Marriott and Hilton branded hotels, because I was really sensitive about guest satisfaction scores because I was an approved franchise operator of the brands. I thought my thinking was, well, if we're overly pushy through the front desk, that our guest service scores might suffer. They actually went up where we installed Frontline Performance Group. Now, I think, and I think one of the biggest things you don't think about, we have a lot of turnover at the front desk. Well, there's an incentive program with Frontline Performance Group where our front desk agents were then making 20, 25, 30% more than they were before. And so our retention of front desk agents went up because they're making more money on the incentive. And then when you have longer tenured front desk agents, you actually have a better check-in experience.
Right.
And I thought that was really interesting, is actually our service scores actually went up.
Wow. Geoffrey, that's really interesting. So I don't want to sound too preachy salesy, but it really sounds like a win-win-win kind of a thing. It makes
we call it the 5-win. There's 5 wins.
Sorry, I apologize. I'm 2 wins short, Geoffrey.
I know it's usually the win-win. We think it's 5 wins. It's the employee wins, the guest wins, we win, the hotel wins, and the owner wins.
Right. Beautiful. I love it.
Everyone wins.
All right, so I think this is probably a good place to wrap up this episode. We're going to do 2 more of these, one getting a little bit closer on understanding how the solutions are successful for you with the front desk, and also how you can help increase that F&B tab. Super important, especially with some booze. Geoffrey, before you go, how can we learn a little bit more about Frontline Performance Group?
So our website is www.frontlinepg, like performancegroup.com. And I'm very active on LinkedIn. Our company's very active on LinkedIn. I would say those are the 2 places. If you have any interest, reach out. We would love to hear from you.
Great. Well, thanks. And Sloan, thank you for being here today. And
good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. All right, guys, we will see you next time. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And do me a favor, like, share, subscribe. You can do it right over here. Remember, you got one life, so blaze on. See you next time.